Hi, welcome back to Living on Slow Time. I'm Kathy, and this is what's cooking in the camper tonight. We are going to be having a biscuit and gravy casserole. Who doesn't love to have sausage and eggs and biscuits and gravy? Tonight we're going to simplify that by making it into a casserole. These are all of our products that we need in order to make this casserole. We've just got a little bit of spray to grease our pan with. We have some biscuits, breakfast sausage, milk, cheese, a biscuit, a gravy mix, and eggs. And that's all it's going to take. So let's get cooking. All right, so we're going to start by preheating our pan up here a little bit so that we can get a nice brown on our breakfast sausage. We are using a full pound of breakfast sausage in the casserole. And you can get your favorite kind. If you prefer it to be spicy, you can do that. This one here is just regular, ordinary breakfast sausage. And we're just going to toss this right on in the pan. And if you're trying to be a little bit healthier, you could always use turkey sausage. If you're looking to try and speed up your time a little bit, they do also make pre-cooked sausage crumbles that you can get in the cooler case at your supermarket as well. I'm going to give my hands a quick wash here. I love my silicone utensils that I have. It makes it so much simpler. They just ride right inside the little utensil holder here, and I don't have to worry about them melting or anything like that. They clean up super easy. Nothing will actually stick to them, and they just wash up like a breeze. I'm just going to break this up. Once we have this all broken up here, we're going to go ahead and let that start cooking. To save a little bit of dishes here, we're going to go ahead and just measure out our ½ cup of milk there in the measuring cup. And we're just going to go ahead and break our eggs all in straight in there. We're going to use 6 eggs in this. If you want to increase the protein in there, you could add more than that. I have used 8 eggs, 10 eggs. Depends on how many people you're wanting to feed as well. This does typically feed about, you could get 6 good size servings out of it, but you could definitely feed more than that. And especially if you add additional eggs in there, or even some additional biscuits, you could do that. I've even added an extra ½ a can of biscuits into it to help stretch it a little bit further. With this, we don't have to really add any salt and pepper to it because our gravy's got the pepper in it, and the sausage has the salt in it, so it really isn't going to matter a whole lot. And we're just going to grab our whisk here and go ahead and give this a little bit of a shake up and see if I can do it without making a huge mess. It's just the 2 of us, so we'll just probably have the casserole for dinner. Add a little small side salad with it at dinner time. That just kind of helps give you a little bit of veggie. And that is something you could do too, is you could add, if you wanted to, some peppers and onions into this casserole. That would be very tasty. Almost kind of like an omelet type of a situation there. That sausage is smelling good. All right, so we've got our eggs all mixed up there. We'll push that to the side. We're going to go ahead and get our biscuits here. We're going to go ahead and open that. Does anybody else have a childhood memory of always asking to open the biscuits just because you get that whole pot situation going on? It was always a favorite thing of mine as a kid. So we're just going to take our biscuits here. I'm going to grab us a knife. And we're just going to give them a good little cut. I'll usually do them in about 6 pieces of each. Get a few of them going here. Go ahead and get this sprayed. I didn't do that yet. Just a quick spray. Then we can just start tossing these pieces of biscuit right on into the pan here. All right. This is really fun. You could do it even if you wanted to in like a muffin pan. If you wanted an easy grab and go, you could always do it in there and use one biscuit per muffin tin. Depending on the size biscuits that you have, these may actually be able to do a half a biscuit for one muffin. And then just pour your egg in a little bit at a time there, and you can make little muffin cups. It'd be easy for the kids to grab on school mornings. All right. We've got that all in there. Getting some nice brown on the bottom. That's what we want. That's all the tasty bits. Break this up a little bit more as we're going along. That helps it cook a little bit faster, gets a little bit more brown on more areas because that's where all your flavor is at. Whoops, man overboard. I always loved watching my mama cook in the kitchen. Being from the South, I mean, that was the big thing. That was the hangout where we would just watch in the kitchen and chat and talk, and so many good memories are made in the kitchen. This is something that you could even have your kids help you make. If you're, they could cut up using a butter knife. They could cut the biscuits up, or even just pinch them into smaller pieces would even work as well. They could crack the eggs, and just getting everybody in together to help. This is pretty lean for a breakfast sausage here. Looking fantastic. As you can see, as the juices start to cook out of it a little bit more, it's picking up some of that goodness off of the bottom of the pan. Just all a bunch of flavor. Get us a plate here. Put our sausage on to drain. Is that not the cutest little plate? A good friend of mine gave that to me at Christmas time with a bunch of goodies on it. And it is just the cutest plate. Looky there. That looks fabulous. So we're just going to go ahead and take that off and put it right over onto our paper towels to drain. There we go. All right, move that right off of there. I'm just going to take my knife and chop this up just a little bit more, get some of those bigger pieces a little bit smaller. If it was cooler, you could always just use your fingers to crumble it up. One thing to think about is if you needed to make this for dinner after a long day of work or something, you could always do a little bit of food prepping on the weekend and go ahead and have your sausage cooked up, or you could have those sausage crumbles that you could buy at the store, and you could just use that, because it's really just as easy as putting your sausage on top of your biscuits. It's just so cute. And spreading that out. I'm a home cook. I use my fingers. My mama always said that's how you put some love in your recipes. All right. There we go. Wipe those fingers off. I'll whisk up a little bit more. And we're just going to pour that right over top. Making sure to kind of go around the whole pan. It'll kind of settle in there, but there we go. We got that there. Ooh, my fingers got a little greasy from that sausage. Gonna open up our cheese. We only need about a cup of this. You can go as little or as much as you want. Mr. Frank doesn't like cheese. Anyway, so we'll kind of leave one end that really doesn't have cheese on it and let the other end have the cheese. It's easy to make accommodations for him. Do the same thing with like my enchiladas that we'll make together sometime, and I just don't put cheese on his end, or just put a little bit of cheese. All right. So the last thing that we have to do is we have to mix our gravy up. We're going to make this according to the package directions. You don't have to have that brand. You could even make your own if you want to. I just happen to have this in the pantry, so I wanted to go ahead and use that up. So now we're going to come back and we're going to make our sausage gravy over here. We're just going to use our same pan that we used to make our sausage in. If anything's still in it, it's still just going to add some flavor. We're going to turn that back on. We need 1.5 cups of water. We're going to make this according to the package directions, so we're just going to go ahead and get that. Well, actually, in this one we need 2 cups of water, but 1.5 cups of it's going to go into here to make it according to the direction. I don't know that I could have done that again. I measured out exactly 1.5 cups in there. Then we just kind of take this package and we're just going to pour it in, and that's going to get whisked up. Just follow your package directions. Yours may be a little different than what this one is. This actually has a recipe on the back of it. Pioneer brand. They've got a broccoli cheese soup on here that sounds absolutely wonderful. Bring that up here. Hopefully that's not backwards for you guys. But yeah, that sounds wonderful. So we're just going to do that. We're going to blend this up here, add it to the water once it starts to boil, and then we're just going to whisk it in the pan until it gets nice and thick. So we'll just grab our whisk that we had. Again, using your tools for multiple things. Less dishes, less mess. And that's just like the general rule for living in a camper anyway, is less is more. Living on slow time, minimal. It's all a part of the whole plan with everything. And everything in a camper kind of needs to be dual purpose, isn't it? Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and just give that a good mix up there. And we'll go ahead and just give a little zhuzh on here in the pan to try to get some of those brown pieces off that are still left in there. A little bit here on the side. This is also the way that you clean your cast iron skillet, is by adding water to it and letting it, oh yeah, look at that in there. And let all the pieces from cooking and stuff all come up off of it. And you're not supposed to use soap in your cast iron skillets, but I do sometimes. I just make sure that whenever I do that, I always season the pan afterwards. I'll put a little oil in there, rub it all in, turn that on the burner until it starts to smoke good, and then I'll shut it off, and that helps re-season that pan. Every now and then, if you do that a lot, you may end up needing to stick it in the oven to give it a really deep season. But I've had this one here for, gosh, probably 6 or 7 years, so it's pretty good there. Our water's come to a boil, so we're just going to pour this off into here. Get all that goodness down in there. All right, so while this is cooking up, I am going to go ahead and get those pans out of my oven's even dual purpose. It houses my baking sheets when they're not in use. We're going to start the oven here, turn that on to 350, and we're going to come back and pay attention to our gravy. It's already starting to thicken up. That's the good thing about these packets. They really don't take long to thicken up for you. The gravy packets don't take up much space. You don't have to have the milk and the pepper and the flour and the everything to be able to make it on your own if you just want to cheat a little and get you the gravy packet. All right, so I'm going to quit using that in my pan now, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a little spatula here. That's looking good. I do like to, sometimes I'll get the big family size packet, or you get 2 packages of the gravy, so that I can add a little extra gravy if I want to on top afterwards, even once it's already baked. Some people like a lot of gravy. That looks wonderful. We're going to go ahead and shut that off. Okay, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to just put this gravy down into a measuring cup just to make it a little bit easier to put on the casserole, because then you can pour it a little easier. Our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Okay. And then we're just going to pour this gravy right on top, all the way around, to make sure all the pieces are going to have gravy on them. It's going to be so good. All right. If you remember, we already used this measuring cup for 2 different things in this recipe. And now we just used it a 3rd time. All I did was rinse it out before I put the cooked gravy in there, after we had mixed the gravy packet up in it, just to get that raw flour out of it. And we're just going to spread that gravy around. Just going to rub that off on there. All of that goodness. All right. And into the oven it goes. Going to do 350 for about 45 minutes. Alrighty, that is our timer. Time to pull out our casserole. Ooh, that looks fantastic. Oh, look at that. Yes. Looks delicious. Turn that oven off and just look at all that lusciousness. Hot and bubbly and sausagey, gravy-y. It doesn't get much better than that. Pull out a little spoonful here. We're just going to take a little bitty corner and pull that out just to give it a taste, because it's certainly going to have to cool a lot. You can see that the edges get nice and toasty, and that cheese browns up nicely. Nice and light and fluffy on the inside with pieces of sausage. Oh, it's hot, but so good. I'll put the recipe down below. I hope that you decide to make this simple casserole. Maybe have breakfast for dinner.